How are you, man?
It's a good day. It's Groundhog Day, early spring prediction. That's great. We had to rep the Groundhog Day shirt. So it started off on a very high note, and then it went to a very, very low note, and then it went to a very, very high note.
Yeah, so let's kind of do this matchup by matchup. The SSG series sweep. Was it a
Yep.
bad sweep? Let's see. It was one goal game, two goal game, one goal game. What was going on there?
Well, I think Space Station in general, a lot of it is look, how do we stop LJ? He's a half chance merchant. And the problem is he's really, really, really good. And it's hard to contain a guy like that for the whole game. And honestly, I think we started off pretty strong there in game one. You get edged out every now and again in a 1 goal game, but Space Station adjusted really well to the pace after that. And it just found it very difficult to find a way to get the ball to open space with how consistently they were challenging. So really well played and locked down game from Space Station. They didn't really give up a whole lot, so fair
Yeah.
enough.
What was the environment like afterwards?
Um, Obviously no one's happy. Like
True,
it's like
true.
okay, first test of a regional that isn't just qualifying, right? Like let's go play a good team in Space Station, see how we do. Nobody likes O3, that's for sure. It's kind of like, look, that's the way she goes. No one expected us to win. Part of us expected ourselves to win, but that's okay. We didn't get blown out. So, you kind of just have to boot and rally for that, right? And you just got to go play the next game, but losing the second game was
Yeah.
ugh.
I was gonna say the game five to NRG. You guys actually went up 2-0 in the series and got reverse swept. What happened?
It was bad, man.
Sound like a war victim. It was bad, man. It
Like
wasn't.
they were cooking so good in games 3 and 4, but it's always take, and NRG eventually says, okay, hang on, we've been around the block a few times too, right? And they started stacking the net, and it's really hard to get around teams that stack the net. You have to have either really great passing, literally best player in the world, Mex, or you gotta find some way to demo them, and we couldn't connect on any of those. And the best part is even if we ended up getting reverse sweep, like we had a lot of time to sit down there and just collect ourselves for the start. I was kind of
Mm.
thinking, being O2 is kind of nice. It sucks, but like I'm not worried about like what we have to do. It's like, okay, we just win. We've already been knocked as low as we can possibly go right now, because I would hate being 1-1 and then losing and then having to go play the 1-2 round, or being 2-0 and then having to play the 2-2 round. Like that just sounds awful. Like I wouldn't have the mental fortitude to like do the up down. I'd rather
Yeah.
just, if we're gonna dip, let's just dip off the rip and just play the rest of the games like we know we can. So it got away there in game five, but that game four was really, really tough because it felt like we were playing exactly the game we wanted to, held a lot of control, but still couldn't crack the net. And then just one snuck through on us. So, game five, you go out there, say rinse, repeat, let's do the same thing. But NRG opens it up with a few kickoff goals. And it's like, oh, God, you just dig
Yeah.
a hole way too early. And that was the end.
Yeah. And honestly, it for me, my perspective. I think it looked really bleak having OG in a third round low match.
I
Um.
mean, it wasn't the worst matchup because Andy and Five Up have already found ways to beat OG before. They played against them
Mhm.
with Zanil back in, I think it was Bandits on Wheels, and managed to beat them there. Ended up losing the second round matchup against them later on, but that was all tight games as well. So they were very familiar with OG, and they were also fairly confident that look, OG is going to be a lot more rattled than we are, right?
Oh wow. Okay.
Like at least that's how I would view it. Because if I
Yeah.
if I'm Pirates on a boat, right? If I'm Five Up, I'm a rookie, right? I know I'm good at this game, right?
Mhm.
But nobody really on Pirates on a Boat has like the name value that pretty much everybody on OG does. Everyone goes, oh, JNAPS, oh, Nolly, oh,
Yeah.
all players that have been on like they've been winning stuff before, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so we're both in the same boat. We're both down 0-2. OG knows, that we're not going to be an easy win because they know they can lose to us, right?
Yeah.
That's the scary part. And that kind of plays well. And honestly, I think the guys were locked in. They knew they could do it. And they said, look, we've been playing well. Games have just been getting away from us. And OG just cracked under the pressure, I think, surprisingly.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the score line. First game was close, and then a couple 4-2s, which is, I mean, I think that's kind of really good. Do you think like that the performance there, especially in those games 2 and 3, kind of helped the rest of the way because you finally felt
Oh,
like you guys got the ball rolling?
then things start clicking. It's like, okay, now we're finding ways to get the ball out into space, really go around people instead of through people, and really find effective ways towards the net, which everybody on Pirates on a Boat does a really good job of because all the mechs are there, which is nice
Yeah.
because it feels like no matter what player has the ball, everybody kind of has to respect the approach because everybody has at least dangerous approach on target if you let them go for it. So after that, found a few nice ways to get the ball across the pitch, control a bit more space, and not have to be stuck on defense for any extended periods of time, and kind of just let people cook. And they went and cooked those last two games, which was great.
Yeah. Then after that, there was the TSM match. What were kind of the thoughts going into it, like head to head?
TSM is they're tough because like in scrims, like they're either like absolutely dunking or it's kind of like even. And so we weren't sure which TSM we were going to get here. And thankfully, it wasn't Wavy and Creams hitting the world on us with some gross stuff. So we're happy to find a win against TSM. But honestly, I was a little bit worried because they were so focused on like, oh well, if we beat TSM here, we got to go beat probably Young Whippersnappers or Luminosity in the last round. I'm like, we don't care about round 5
Oh, they
right
were
now.
more focused. Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean.
It's like let's not look too far ahead. We got to get through these TSM people first. Everybody, let's go.
Yeah. Well, that actually was going to be one of the questions I was going to ask was like, were you guys kind of looking forward because we were talking about it on the desk to see which team you guys would play. We knew that I'm looking at your guys' schedule. Who was your first round?
We
SSG,
had SSG round
Energy,
one, yeah.
yeah. So we knew that there could have been a chance things would have mixed up. We knew that Rebellion and Luminosity, there was two teams that had already played each other going in. I don't know if it was Rebellion LG. No, it wasn't. So we were trying to figure out like those like particular matchups to see what it was, but then we realized you guys had whippersnappers, and honestly, I felt insanely confident because I watched Jin Ji the round before play against Whippersnappers, and it was kind of like what you were describing earlier. They had a 1-1 round 3. They won it, but it was against Snowman in game 5. They go and play against Jin Ji, and right out the gate, I mean, I got off the desk and I went to the Jin Ji stream 7-1 in like the first
Mm-hmm.
first few minutes, and I said, "Oh man, this is over." So
Like it's tough being a young whippersnappers in that spot, right? Because they're kind of like the same position as Pirates
yeah,
on a Boat, like not a lot of expectation, right? But you end up in you're in the 2-1 round. You got to beat a good team, right? And you get handed the absolute smackdown by Gen G, and then you have to immediately rally. And you got to play a tough team like Pirates on a Boat who just don't give up a lot of stuff for free. So it was a tough one for young whippersnappers there at the end, and everybody on Pirates is like, yeah, we feel pretty good about this, and the score line says, yeah,
yeah.
they should have.
I gotta ask about the players first off. Do you have a MVP of the team for the day?
No, I think it takes a collective effort. I think for everybody to go out there today, and because everyone had to rally from the same extreme mental low.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am quite impressed with how consistent everybody was able to perform through today, especially having to play all 5 games, like staying locked in and consistent enough in your approach and being able to be mechanically capable for multiple hours on end was very difficult for everybody, I think, and they all did a fantastic job. So everybody popped off in their own section in their own way today, I think.
How were Eris and Five Up? Of course, they're both kind of. I believe it may not be Eris. No, not Eris. Eris qualified in RLCS X. But it's Five Up's rookie debut. I mean, were those guys? I mean, you talk about the rally, but kind of give me a little bit more insight into Five Up and how he handled things.
Five Up is super.
Your cam froze.
He's did it okay. Super laid back.
There you
I
go.
mean, started coaching pirates on a boat, and you talk to Five Up for 5 seconds. He's like, "So what do you want me to do?" I'm like, "I mean, you're making enough to just go dunk fools, so just go dunk fools." And he goes, "Okay, I go dunk fools." Like he's
Yeah.
like he's super low key, and he's very aware of what he's capable of and how he's going to do it. Not to mention, low key, gross defender. Oh
Oh
man,
yeah.
Five Up pulls some gross stuff off the line, so he's doing very very well on that front as well.
Yeah, I've seen him in the 6-man server, so I know what he can do as an individual. But it's really good to see these guys kind of connecting and they click on the roster. Talk to me about what you specifically do for the team.
So a lot of what I do is, I obviously I try and come in and I watch all their scrims. I sit around and I say, look, if you guys have some sort of tendency, here's what you're doing. Go and adjust as you will.
Hmm.
If I can give my input if I'd like, obviously they don't have to take it. They're all capable players and they know what they're doing. But I'm gonna call it like I sees it, and they will adjust if they feel it's necessary, which is perfectly fair because they're all really, really good at this game.
Yeah. Do you think you had how? I mean, in terms of this, you have gone through the ringer. As your first experience coaching, how did it go for you?
It's hard. Coaching is very, very hard because I'm so used to looking at a game through a wide angle, right? I watch the game zoomed out. I can see the whole field all the time, and I am very aware of what each person can do. But I had to, as I started coaching, I was like, I had to put myself in the thought of, okay, well, let's assume we qualify for LAN. I'm not going to be able to see the game in a wide shot. I have to stand behind 3 monitors and I have to piece together the game from 3 monitors, and that's it. And so I've been trying to watch all these games from point of views and figure it all out. Oh my gosh. Takes me forever sometimes. Holy.
Yeah.
It's so hard to just read the game from one team and one side and that's it, and try and figure out what's going on. So that's been a really big hurdle for me personally, I think.
Well, you have done better. I mean, well, I'm not going to compare you to other coaches because you've given me more info than a lot of other people. But that being said, I mean, I think this is a great start. You guys made top 8. Like,
You can't hate top 8.
you
No,
can't
no
hate
matter
top
how
8.
tomorrow goes. Hey, first go around, we made playoff bracket. That's a pretty good start. So obviously, a lot to consider about Dignitas. Never fun playing a player like Arsenal. Dude makes people work way too hard. So
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah.
an interesting day.
Yeah, they'll be locked in. But of course, congratulations. I am personally very happy for you. It's good to see you do well in this spot. I love you. And yeah, I'm gonna let you go so you can prep the team for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Love you. Have a good one.
You
too.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm here with Dignitas Arsenal. Arsenal, congratulations for making it out of the Swiss stage, man, in Major Qualifier 1. Talk to me about the initial thoughts of your performance with your team for the first time.
Yeah, man. I mean, RLCS first series especially is always gonna be pretty nervy. As you guys seen, we kind of got swept, a little sweep for the boys, but right after that, we started the sweep train, you know what I'm saying? We went 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, back to back to back, you mean?
You know what I mean?
So, you know what? Yeah, once we got comfortable, man, it was just up from there. Like it was really just getting those first jitters out the way.
Yeah, like dive deep. So what really contributed to the slow start, do you think?
To be honest, I think we had a lot of bad habits from scrims and ranked in general. I think that playing in a no pressure setting compared to RLCS, it's basically a completely different game. Like I wouldn't even compare RLCS to scrims and off season tournaments and ranked in anything because everyone's super confident. Their mechanics are on point. They're never messing up. They're pre jumping you. They're doing all these things and you're probably doing that yourself and you're not thinking anything of it. Then once you get the tournament and the decision making is not the same, and you're not getting those same pre-jump dunks and those weird type of goals where two people pre-jump and pinch it and you score like that, then you're like, oh, why am I not getting these goals? And now you're in an uncomfortable situation. Or why am I awkward? Why are we missing these open net shots that I normally score? It's really just all mental. And our play style works best under pressure so our first series, we had the bad habits that we were just overly confident in doing stuff that we don't normally do in a tournament setting. So once we got that out the way, it was just up from there.
Yeah, up is up for real. I mean, I'm looking at the just looking at the last matches or the next rounds. One goal games with OG, very close. I mean, you guys were in overtime. You might have been in overtime longer than any other team that was playing in the Swiss stage. You had that 5 minute, 39-second game one with OG, and I was casting your TSM series where that game three went 7 minutes and 48 seconds. Like what's going through the team's mind like after like during all of these like long games. You guys made it sweeps, but they were it's like playing for that much of extenuous pressure with so many close games has to be tasking.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, especially when it comes to playing those teams in particular, TSM and OG. They play a very safe style, so we're just looking to play our game, create the opportunities, and for the most part, they don't play as super aggressive and as panicky and pre-jumpy. They just play a solid game. So we were just hoping to just keep playing our game, play a solid game, and we just knew the goal would come. To be honest.
I mean, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Talk to me about the LG sweep, especially. That was your last match. That was the one you needed to qualify. Luminosity has looked really good over the course of the Swiss stage. I mean, they went game five a couple of times, even with the likes of G2. It feels like that team is no slouches, but you guys took them down pretty handily.
Yeah, I mean, especially having the pressure off of us, I would say, of us being 2-1. We got 3 series under our belts where we're warmed up, we know how to play, where we're talking, we're communicating, we're having a good time. We're just in prime form, I would say. That last series and it's to qualify. So it's like, all right, we're feeling it. Now we gotta feel it even more. Now we gotta turn up. Now we gotta score these goals. Now we gotta make them uncomfortable, make them play our game instead of oh, let's just feel it out. Like we already felt it out. We already know how we have to play, and it's just about executing at that point.
Okay, that makes sense. Definitely, I feel like execution was a big proponent of today. There were some teams that could do it, there were some that can't. The level of competition is
Hmm.
getting really high. A lot of players are playing really close, but it
Yeah.
does feel like it does come down to executing when you do get your opportunities. You guys did that very, very well.
Hmm.
Talk to me about the teammates. Of course, you know you've
Hmm.
been playing with Gyro. He's back on the squad since last time you saw. Last time you teamed with him was in the Peeps of 2018. And then
Hmm.
Evo, of course. I mean, me and you, we both know Evo. We know how he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on match day, especially coming off of that first series, what is that energy like with those guys?
The best word that I could use to describe our team atmosphere, especially after that series, is just open. We're very open about everything, about play style wise, about what's affecting us mentally, what's going on. Like we talk in between games and everything. After that first series, it's about regaining and us being close friends and hanging out in Discord and doing a lot of things together, playing different games, just chilling in Discord, just even warming up before scrims. Us having that compatibility factor to just say what we gotta say, get that out. Like whatever you have internally, get that out. Just put it out so no one's gonna take it personally. We just always trying to help each other, all trying to be on the same page. And I feel like that helps a lot. Like our regain factor, I truly believe we can be down in a game 4-0. We could get swept like we did with Shopify, and we could come out the next series swinging, come out the next series even better, come out the next series even better. It's just having the mental of teaming with people you adore, friends, people that you can say you love competing with.
Yeah, and I think that's very important in that team environment. Evo especially had a really good game. I didn't really see all of D-Rex stats, but he was leading in a couple of those categories, and there have been people highlighting his performance. I mean, what's it like playing with him?
Hey man, I've talked to Evo. I've talked to the team. I like when I think of Evo, I think of Evo as my Zen. Like I'm gonna be Alpha 54, that young freaking mechanical. I mean, I'm not that young, but like you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
guy who has the experience but still has the mechanics, can still pull it off when he needs to. That leadership, them leadership qualities. I'm just here to bring the vibes up and help Evo develop as much as he can as a player. And him having those stats is insane for me. Like I love to see that. I truly believe Evo and even Gyro and me, all of us, the whole Dignitas roster, we have what it takes to be the best in the world. And I don't think people realize we haven't been teaming like that long. Like a lot of these rosters are pretty new. You have a lot of duos that just pick up one player, and you have us who we literally formed a couple 2 3 weeks before the roster lock. So we're still getting everything together, still working out the kinks, learning how to play under pressure in certain situations. And
Mm.
I feel like once we get that down, it's raps.
How was Violent Panda helped with that process?
Man, oh man. That man Panda, like when it comes to the whole mental aspect, he like, especially after we lost that first series, dog, he was the first one that, yo, guys, like, talk to me. What's going on? Like I said before, emotional intelligence from that man, the mental to understand what we just went through getting swept. Close games, by the way, close games getting swept. He understands what he has to say to us to get us back in the groove, get us back on the track. He could talk to us about a lot of gameplay things and but at the end of the day, that's not going to matter. If we're struggling with execution and we're not playing our play style, then the game plan just goes out the window. So him being able to have that emotional intelligence and get us back on track mentally is huge for the team. Even if we're doing well, him able to keep us composed and not doing too much, not throwing them 2 goals at the end of games and giving them that little bit of momentum that we might not think is important. He's like, yo, guys, don't let them score. Don't let them score because they'll get those goals and they'll run with it. And now the next game, you're making the next game harder on you. But he doesn't allow that. So Panda's been very huge.
Nice. I love to hear that. Let's talk about you personally here for a little bit. I mean, after leaving SSG, coming to Dignitas, and even over the course of your career with other roster moves, there's always been a lot of different conversation about you. What is your goal? What are your goals here? Of course, everybody's going to say their goal is to win. I know you are definitely one of those players who say that and they mean that. But outside of that, like, what are you looking to show the world on your in your performance this season?
To be honest, I want to show the world that not only does age not matter, in my opinion, I truly believe that mental over talent is a true thing. You can have the most talented players on one roster, but if even on the day, if their mental isn't well, then it's just not going to work out. And even teaching Evo and trying to help Gyro and just everyone that I come in contact with on how to have a good lifestyle outside the game. So when they hop on the game, it doesn't feel like a job and it feels like something that they can enjoy. They can feel good. They're eating good. They're going to the gym. They're working out. They're doing everything that they have to do inside the game or outside the game, I should say, to feel good inside the game. Along with talking to friends, family, still having that social life, just having a very balanced life. So even when Rock League is done, it's not like you're just stepping out into the world and you don't know what's going on. You don't even know how to talk to people. Like you're a good socializer at that point if you team with me. You know how to take care of yourself. You know how to cook, you know, like just stuff like that. Like I'm really big on helping people develop a balanced lifestyle on my team because if I'm having a balanced lifestyle and I feel like I'm performing a certain way, I want the same for my teammates. I want all of us to move in the right direction even outside of Rocket League.
That's spoken like a true leader. Honestly, that's very good on you, and I think that you're on the right path to be able to achieve those goals. Of course, quarterfinals matchup for you guys. Pirates on a boat. Give me a preview of what's to come.
To be honest, my favorite saying for a while now has been I don't really have expectations. I don't really expect anything to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I just trust and believe in my team and I know what I'm capable of. I know what my teammates are capable of. I have full trust in all of us to not only perform on the day, but even if we go down in a single game 4-0, 3-0, 2-0, whatever to be able to bring that game back and win. Like us sweeping is not just a coincidence. It's being able to keep a level head even when you're performing well and not getting too overconfident. Because you can be down in the dumps and it's like, oh, now all this bad stuff is happening. But there's also the other side of now, oh, we're doing good, everything's so good, and then you're expecting good, and then when bad happens, it throws you off, and then it goes spirals down. So just being able to keep level head the whole time has been huge.
So you feel like you're taking this game by game and not really thinking too much about your opponents then?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't. I think the biggest thing that I could give to people is to learn how to be present and live on the moment because a lot of people they'll I mean, it's something that I did before too. Before I had all the experience, I had a certain routine, and I did something, and I ate a certain food, or I woke up at a certain time, or like I did something, and I was like, okay, if I do that, then I will win. It was that like I put that expectation, and it kind of pulls you out the moment because you start thinking, no matter what, I'm going to perform. Or if I have certain camera settings, or if I have certain car or whatever, then I'll perform a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
The only time you know how you perform is in that moment when you're actually playing. So learning how to just get rid of expectations before you, even if you scrim before and you go into that match and you're getting trashed on in scrims or whatever. That whole thing, when you like, so I'm not even gonna say think about it. When you truly understand that, all that things before does not mean anything. What matters is when you hop on that pitch, when you're common with your teammates, and when you're performing, taking it game by game, goal by goal. That is what matters.
Okay. I appreciate that because at first I was like, okay, he didn't really answer the question, but then when you hear like the mental, you hear how you break it down, it's like, okay, that's just because he's only focused on everything that's in front of him in the present moment, which makes a lot of sense. So I
Mhm.
definitely appreciate an answer like that. I mean, of course, that's all I got for you. I wish you a good luck for tomorrow. And hopefully we can see, maybe I even interview on the mainstream. We can talk even more about this stuff. But before we let you go, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to shout out before we close it out?
I mean, yeah. I mean, shout out Dignitas. Shout out all the fans that support me. I always see all y'all comments. I love y'all dearly. Y'all keep me going. Shout out my family. Shout out my friends. Shout out the Bad for doing the interview. And shout out the merch. I don't got it on right now. I mean, shout out Dig too, but shout out my merch. I just dropped it. So, check out my Twitter, check all that stuff. And yeah, that's all I really have to say.
All right, bet. We're going to drop a link on the merch on the description below. Arsenal, of course, thank you for the interview. We appreciate it. Good luck to Dignitas in top 8. And everybody else, thanks for watching. 1, 2, toodaloo.
Toodaloo.